There is a clock ticking inside you. Not the kind you wear on your wrist or hang on the wall, the kind only your soul can hear. A clock that doesn't count hours, it counts chances. Chances to rise, chances to change, chances to become everything you were meant to be before it's too late. Too late to heal what you've ignored. Too late to say what you've buried. Too late to become what you keep postponing. You see, life doesn't wait. It whispers. It taps you gently at first, then harder, then it roars, until one day it stops, and all that's left is silence. The silence of what could have been. But right now, in this very moment, you are still breathing, which means you still have time. Time to fix what you've broken. Time to build what you've abandoned. Time to become someone your future self will thank, not resent. But that time is not guaranteed. So, fix yourself before it's too late. Fix the laziness you've labeled as self-care. Fix the self-pity you've called being misunderstood. Fix the comfort addiction you've wrapped in the illusion of peace. Because these things aren't helping you, they're holding you hostage. You are not tired. You are under-challenged. You are not lost. You are hiding. You are not confused. You are distracted. And somewhere beneath the noise, beneath the scrolling, the procrastinating, the pretending, is a voice that's still calling you forward. That voice is your higher self. And it's time you answered. It's time you stopped negotiating with mediocrity. It's time you stopped defending dysfunction. It's time you stopped pretending that your patterns are just who you are. Because who you are is a choice. And every day you don't fix yourself, you reinforce the lie that your current self is the final version. But it's not. There's more in you. More fire. More strength. More brilliance. More discipline. But it won't come out on its own. You have to dig for it. You have to fight for it. You have to demand it from yourself. And that begins with facing the mirror, not to judge, but to wake up. To look yourself in the eyes and say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing the excuses. I'm not doing the waiting. I'm not doing the cycles of almost changing. Because nothing will get better until you get better. Your life is a reflection of you. Not your boss, not your parents, not your circumstances. You. And if you want the reflection to change, the person standing in front of it must change first. Fix your mindset. That's where everything starts. You've been programmed to think small, to settle, to fear risk, to bow to comfort. But none of that is real. It's just software written by people who gave up on their dreams and called it wisdom. Delete it. Replace it with truth. The truth that your mind is a battlefield. And if you don't take control, it will be taken from you. Every day you must fight to believe bigger, to think clearer, to see farther, because the mind governs the man. And the strongest lives are built on the strongest thoughts. Fix your beliefs. What do you really believe about yourself? Not what you say, what you feel. Do you believe you're worthy of greatness? Or have you been rehearsing shame for so long it feels like home? You'll never outgrow the ceiling of your own belief. If you think you're broken, your choices will reflect that. If you believe you're limited, your actions will obey that. But if you choose to believe, truly believe, that you are capable, that you are powerful, that you are worthy of building something extraordinary, everything changes. Belief is the soil. Every result in your life grows from it. Fix your clarity. Clarity is the compass that cuts through chaos. If you don't know what you want, you'll fall for everything you don't. Distractions will dress themselves as opportunities. Noise will masquerade as direction. And you'll wonder why life feels heavy. It's because you're carrying too much of what isn't yours. Cut the clutter. Get clear. What do you really want? Not what impresses others, not what's safe, not what looks good on Instagram. What do you burn for? What would you suffer for? That's your calling. Fix your vision. Not the one on your vision board, the one in your heart. Most people don't lack motivation, they lack vision. They don't move because they don't see anything worth moving for. And without vision, Discipline dies. Action dies. Hope dies. You need a future so vivid it haunts you. A dream so detailed it becomes a demand. A picture of your highest self so clear that your current self can no longer stay the same. Fix your purpose. Purpose is not found, it is forged. It is uncovered through sweat, struggle, sacrifice. You must decide what your life is for. What hill are you willing to die on? What pain are you willing to endure? Purpose makes pain tolerable. It makes discipline sustainable. It gives your suffering a context, a reason, a meaning. Fix your discipline. Your life is not a reflection of your goals, it's a reflection of your standards. If you don't show up for yourself when it's hard, your goals are fantasies. Discipline is how you translate desire into results. It's not motivation. It's not feeling good. It's showing up when you're tired. It's following through when you're scared. It's doing the work when the hype is gone and the silence is deafening. Fix your action. Nothing changes until you move. You cannot think your way into transformation. You must act your way into it. Clarity without action is procrastination. Belief without action is fantasy. Discipline without action is dead. Move. Even if it's messy. Even if it's small. Even if it's slow. Progress is born in motion. And every step forward is a vote against the version of you that stayed stuck. Fix your gratitude. Gratitude is not passive. It's not soft. It is a weapon. It is how you turn scarcity into abundance. Fear into fuel. Doubt into direction. Gratitude shifts your energy. It elevates your perspective. It reminds you that you are already equipped, not empty. You don't need more to begin. You need more awareness of what you already have. Fix your adaptability. Life will not obey your script. Plans will break. People will disappoint. Pain will come. And if your success depends on perfect conditions, you'll never taste it. You must learn to bend without breaking, to pivot with power, to shift without shrinking. Adaptability isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's how the strong survive and the wise thrive. Fix your resilience. You will fall. You will fail. You will question everything. But the greatest power you'll ever hold is the ability to stand back up. Every time. No matter what. That is resilience, not avoiding the fall, but rising stronger because of it. Fix your hunger for learning. Because the moment you stop learning, you start dying. Growth is not a phase, it's your fuel. And the fastest way to fall behind in life is to believe you've arrived. You haven't. None of us have. And that's the beauty. There is always more. More wisdom, more depth, more mastery. But only for those humble enough to admit they don't know everything and hungry enough to chase what they don't. Fix yourself. Fix what you've been avoiding. Fix the wounds you've left untreated. Fix the patterns you've normalized. Fix the story you've been telling yourself. The one where you're the victim. The one where it's too late. The one where this is just how life is. Tear that story up and write a new one. Write it in bold choices and courageous action. Write it in the language of discipline, devotion, and destiny, because the clock is still ticking and you still have time. But only if you stop wasting it. Only if you decide right now to fix yourself before it's too late. Before the wait becomes permanent. Before your silence becomes your legacy. Before your potential becomes a cautionary tale whispered by those who loved you. Fix yourself before the decay of delay robs you of everything your soul was built to carry. Because what you are meant to become will not wait forever. Purpose has patience, but not eternity. The world may not miss you if you never rise, but your future will. Your children will. The people you were born to impact will. The greatness you were designed to unlock will. There's a universe of possibility within you that is screaming to be released, but it cannot come through clutter. It cannot flow through chaos. It cannot be born through a body that refuses to rise, through a mind that refuses to renew. So fix it. Fix your posture the way you stand, the way you walk through the world. Lift your head like someone who knows they belong. Speak like someone who knows their words. Create worlds. Move like someone who knows this moment is not a rehearsal, it's real. It's raw. It's now. Fix your decisions, not tomorrow. Today. The food you eat, the words you say, the content you consume, the people you surround yourself with, these aren't random. They are rituals. They are building or breaking your future, brick by brick, meal by meal, moment by moment. Fix your space, your environment reflects your mind. Chaos outside is often chaos inside. Organize, eliminate, cleanse. Create a space that reminds you daily, this is where I rise. Fix your relationships, because some of the pain you're carrying isn't yours. It's borrowed energy. It's toxic voices. It's codependency disguised as loyalty. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your becoming. You are not selfish for protecting your energy. You are wise. Let go of what no longer aligns with your higher self. Fix your integrity, the promises you keep to others, and most of all to yourself. When you say you'll wake up early, do it. When you commit to the gym, go. When you say you'll change, follow through, because the moment your words and your actions match, you become unstoppable. Power doesn't come from noise. It comes from alignment. From walking as one whole, healed, united force, not a scattered storm of broken intentions. Fix your soul. The wounds that still bleed, the pain you buried, the guilt you wear like armor, the shame that whispers you're not enough. Bring it into the light, because unhealed pain leads to repeated patterns, and repeated patterns lead to a life you never wanted. So sit with it, journal it, scream it out if you have to, but feel it and then free it. You were never meant to carry it this long. Fix your spirit. Reconnect with what is sacred. Call it faith. Call it purpose. Call it alignment. But know this, a life built on surface will always collapse in storms. You need something deeper, a why that won't bend in the wind, a mission that burns beneath the noise, a force within you that cannot be bought, broken, or bribed. That is your spirit. And when your spirit is strong, nothing can break you. Not the failure, not the betrayal, not the loss. Because when you've fixed yourself, when you've put your house in order, when you've realigned with truth and clarity and courage, you are no longer just surviving. You are living fully, boldly, unapologetically, and the world can feel it. They'll see it in your eyes, hear it in your voice, feel it in your presence. You won't need to say a word, your life will testify that you refuse to decay, that you refuse to settle, that you refuse to wait until it was too late, that you chose now, and because you did, everything changed. And yes, everything does change. When you fix yourself, your perception sharpens, your path clears. The weight you've been dragging through your days begins to lift, and in its place, something new takes root. Power, not the kind that shouts or boasts, the kind that breathes, the kind that moves quietly through rooms and changes the energy without asking permission. The kind that only comes from alignment, from knowing that every part of you is no longer at war with itself. You're no longer fractured, no longer divided between what you say and what you do, what you want and what you settle for. You're whole, and wholeness is strength. Fix yourself before bitterness becomes your worldview, before skepticism hardens your hope, before numbness becomes the mask you wear because feeling became too dangerous. Because when you live too long in a life that doesn't match your soul, something in you starts to die. And the tragedy isn't that you feel pain. It's that you stop feeling altogether. You stop dreaming. You stop believing. You stop imagining what could be, because what is has become your prison. But you don't belong in a prison. You were built for purpose. You were wired for legacy. You were born to become someone no one else could be, someone the world doesn't just admire, but needs. That is the urgency. That is the weight of this moment. You are not just fixing yourself for you. You are fixing yourself for every person who will draw strength from your life. For every soul who will one day stand on ground you built. For every stranger who will never know your name, but will know the freedom your example made possible. This isn't self-help. This is self-resurrection. This is what it means to return to yourself. Not the wounded you, not the scared you, not the tired, deluded, half-awake version the world tried to shape. The real you. The unstoppable you. The you that shows up without apology, without fear, without hesitation. And it all starts with one decision. To no longer run. To no longer wait. To no longer tolerate a life of avoidance. It starts now. With action. With commitment. With the quiet, revolutionary act of saying, I will not die with my potential still buried. I will not leave this earth the same way I came in, undeveloped, unawakened, unfinished. I will rise. I will heal. I will evolve. And I will become the living proof that change is not only possible, it's inevitable when you decide it's time. Time to fix the habits. Time to fix the story. Time to fix the standard. Time to fix the person in the mirror, not because they're broken, but because they're becoming. You owe it to your future. You owe it to your calling. You owe it to the divine fire that still burns inside you. Do it now. Fix yourself before it's too late. Because one day, the mirror will not reflect who you are. It will reflect who you could have been. And the most painful image you'll ever face isn't failure, it's unlived potential. It's looking into your own eyes and realizing that you knew, deep down, what needed to change. You heard the voice. You felt the nudge. You saw the cracks. You had the time. But you hesitated. You ignored. You delayed. And delay is the most seductive form of self-destruction. It feels safe. It feels rational. It feels mature. But it is a silent killer. It kills your fire without noise. It steals your future one, maybe tomorrow at a time. And it leaves you with a perfectly logical excuse for a completely wasted life. Don't let that be your story. Don't become another soul wandering through life, numbed by regret, haunted by all the moments they almost changed, almost rose, almost healed, almost answered the call. That story ends today. Because the moment you truly decide to fix yourself, you become dangerous. You become rare. You become a force. Not because you're perfect, not because you've figured everything out, but because you've taken responsibility. You've stopped outsourcing your power. You've stopped waiting for someone else to save you. You've stepped into the role you were born for, the architect of your life. And architects don't wait for the weather to change. They build anyway. They show up to the site every day, blueprint in hand, vision in mind, sweat on their brow. They build through the heat. They build through the storms. They build through the doubt. Until one day, something stands where there was once nothing, not by luck, but by labor. That's your life. A structure rising choice by choice, day by day, on the foundation of discipline and truth. And when people ask, how did you change? You won't have to explain. They'll see it in the way you speak, in the way you walk, in the way you no longer shrink to fit spaces that can't hold your growth. They'll feel the fire that doesn't burn out, the clarity that doesn't fog, the purpose that doesn't waver. And they'll wonder what it was that flipped the switch. It wasn't magic. It wasn't a course or a quote or a weekend seminar. It was a decision, a sacred, relentless, non-negotiable decision to fix yourself before it was too late. That's the invitation. That's the challenge. That's the miracle waiting on the other side of your fear. So take the step. Burn the excuses. Show up to the battle with your own apathy and win. Not once, but daily, in silence, in sweat, in truth. Fix yourself because the life you're dreaming of is real. But it requires a version of you that doesn't exist yet. So build that version, because when that version of you rises, so does everything around you. The atmosphere changes. Your relationships shift. Your results compound. Your energy speaks before your words ever do. And people won't understand. They'll think it happened suddenly. They won't see the nights you wrestled with your own weakness. They won't see the mornings you forced your body out of bed while your mind screamed to stay. They won't see the meals skipped, the comfort declined, the chaos faced head on. They won't know the cost. But you will. And that knowing, that quiet pride of becoming, will be worth every lonely step. Fix yourself, not for applause, not for recognition, not even to prove them wrong. Fix yourself, because you deserve the best version of you, the you who honors their word, the you who walks into every room with gravity, with focus, with unwavering intent, the you who no longer has to escape their life through scrolling, drinking, spending, or numbing because you built a life you no longer need to escape. This is not self-help. This is a self-summons. This is not about chasing happiness. This is about commanding your existence. This is about turning your life from a reaction into a revelation, so that years from now, when your body is tired and your time is short, you can sit in silence and smile. Not because you had an easy life, not because you made every right decision, but because you answered the call, because you refused to settle. Because when the world said, just accept it, you said, no, I will fix it. Fix your habits. Fix your emotions. Fix your soul. Fix your fire. Fix your vision. Fix your standard. Fix your self-respect. Because when you fix yourself, you free yourself. And once you are free, no one can control you. Not fear, not doubt, not failure, not the opinions of the crowd or the pressure of the culture. You'll walk in full authority, in full ownership, in full light. And the world will be better because you chose to stop existing and start becoming. This is your time, not tomorrow. Now, before the decay sets in, before the regret becomes permanent, before the miracle expires, fix yourself before it's too late. Because the harsh truth is this: time doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you had a rough childhood, if the world was unfair, if no one clapped when you needed it most. Time moves cold, impartial, consistent. And if you don't move with it, it will bury you in the graveyard of forgotten potential. This is why fixing yourself is not just an act of self-improvement. It is an act of resistance. Resistance against the lie that you are stuck. Resistance against the story that says you are too far gone. Resistance against the systems that profit from your self-destruction. When you fix yourself, you are saying, I will not be a victim. I will not be a statistic. I will not be another name on the long list of the talented who never tapped into it, the brilliant who never believed in it, the gifted who never got out of their own way. You are saying, I will rise. I will overcome. I will be forged in fire and finished in purpose. Because once you've tasted that kind of personal truth, the raw, unfiltered, knowing that you are the author, now everything else becomes noise. The opinions fade. The fear fades. Even the failures fade because they are now fuel. When you fix yourself, you become proof. Proof that it's never too late to start again. Proof that scars don't disqualify you, they qualify you. Proof that your lowest chapter doesn't define your last one. But only if you move. Only if you stop waiting for rescue and become the rescue. The world isn't asking for another perfect person. It's crying out for someone real. Someone who's been through it. Someone who broke and rebuilt. Someone who stopped blaming and started building. Someone like you. But only if you're willing to stop pretending that healing is a someday thing. Only if you're willing to stop making excuses sacred and finally make your future sacred instead. Because the real danger is not that you won't succeed. It's that you'll succeed at the wrong thing. It's that you'll climb a ladder leaning against the wrong wall. It's that you'll build a life impressive to the world, but intolerable to your soul. Fix yourself, because the clock is not slowing down. Because the silence of regret is louder than the noise of discipline. Because the price of staying the same is far more terrifying than the cost of change. You already know what needs to be done. You've always known. The only question left is whether you will finally do it. And if you do, if you really do, you'll look back one day and barely recognize the person you were. And in that moment, with a quiet heart and a fierce spirit, you will whisper to yourself, "Thank God I didn't wait. Thank God I fixed it before it was too late."